should be looking at this sheet right here, because what we're going to be talking about today is rounding. Who remembers, without looking at their sheet, what it means to round? Who remembers ever rounding before? Raise your hand if you remember rounding. You should have, because you've done it like several years in a row. Okay, so what is rounding? What is rounding? What does it mean? Cullen?
To change the value of a number to one that is slim.
Read that word. Don't add letters. There's no L.
Simpler. Simpler.
There you go.
To
This is chunking. Cover up one part of the word and read it. Simp. Uncover and then cover the other. Lur. Simp. Lur. Simpler. Simpler. That's chunking. Keep going.
slimper.
No, there's no L.
Simpler to work with.
Simpler. Simpler. It means simple, but even more simple. So simpler.
To work with.
So rounding is when you change the value of a number to something that is easier to work with. You don't have time right now. Put it away. So when we round, we figure out, okay, which number that has a 0 in the ones place is this other number close to? So right now, they have a 17. We have a number line that starts at 10 and ends at 20, and it has a 5 in between. And we're looking at the number 17. Well, we can round really easily by looking at this. Is this number 17? We're looking at numbers that have a 0 in the ones place, 10 and 20. Is this number 17 closer to the number 10 or the number 20? Class, focus, eyes on me. Is this number 17 closer to 10 or closer to 20? Victoria? 20. When we round, we are always figuring out which number with a 0 in the ones place a number is closer to. On a number line, it's really easy because we can see it's only 1, 2, 3 little pieces away from 20, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 away from 10. Head up. But are we always going to have a number line when we round? Class?
No.
No. And yes, you could draw a number line, but how long would it take you to draw a number line for every single problem? Because a lot of times you won't be able to use the same number line. Because what if number 1 says round 34 to the nearest 10? So then all you have to do is 30 and 40 and everything in between. But then number 2 says round 274 to the nearest 10 or to the nearest 100. Then you have to have 100 little pieces. So we won't always have a number line, so today we're going to talk about how to round without a number line. Guys, focus. Sit up, heads up, and focus. Okay, go ahead and turn the page. Look at the back. It looks like this. Is the number 14,820 going to go between 14,000 and 14,500? Thumbs up if yes, thumbs down if no. Put it in front of your face. Thumbs up if it will go in between 14,000 and 14,500. Zadie, you need to put your legs under your desk. I've already said that. Now, You've told me what you think about that. Is the number 14,820 going to go between 14,500 and 15,000? Thumbs up if yes, thumbs down if no. Don't look around at the class. That means that you're looking at them for your answer instead of thinking of it for yourself. I see a lot of people that just aren't participating, and your grades are going to show that because it means you're not listening. Why will 14,820 not go between 14,500 and 14,500? Victoria?
Because 8 is greater than 5.
Good. Because 8 in that hundredths place is greater than this 5 in the hundredths place. Good. Why is 14,820 going to go between 14,500 and 15,000? Zari?
Because if you put it in between,
We already know why it's not going to go between 14,000 and 14,500, so that can't be your answer. Your answer can't be why it's not going to go between these two numbers, because we already answered that. Your answer has to be why is it going to go between 14,500 and 15,000?
because it's in between in the number.
How do we know that? How do we know it's between? That's my question. Can somebody help her out? Aaron?
Because 14,820 is less than 15,000.
How do you know?
Because 15,000 is greater than, because 5 is greater than 4.
Because the 5 in the thousands place is greater than this 4 in the thousands place, and the 8 in the hundreds place is greater than this 5. So we know 14,820 would go maybe right about there. So now, go ahead, open your books to page 37. Okay, so you should be on page 37 in your book. And now let's look at the paragraph under the title. And go ahead and read Kingston. Louder.
When you estimate, you find an answer that is close to the exact answer. One way to estimate is to round by changing the value of a number, so it is easier to work with.
Go ahead and underline that last sentence. One way to estimate is to round, circle the word round, by changing the value of a number so it is easier to work with. Because when we're estimating, are we finding an exact answer? When we estimate, are we finding an exact answer? Some of you just look like you're pretending to think, but I don't think you're actually thinking. Carla?
Yes, you are trying to get.
Look at that
the
first
exact-
sentence, Carla. What does that first sentence say? Read it out loud.
When you estimate, you find the answer that is close to the exact answer.
So does that sentence say that when we estimate, we are finding an exact answer?
No.
No. So, Carla, when we estimate, are we finding an exact answer?
No, ma'am.
No. We are finding an answer that is close. A definition for estimating could be making an educated guess. You're not just guessing a random number. You're thinking about what you have, and using what you know, you're finding something that is close. So no, what we're doing today, whenever you estimate, you won't be finding an exact answer. You're just looking for something that is close to the exact answer. The way that we are going to estimate today is to round. So we're changing the value of the number so it's something easier to work with. If you are trying to find 78 times 3, but you don't necessarily need an exact number. It's a lot easier to round to find that answer than it is to do it this way. So we're not going to do this yet, but we are going to learn how to do this part, or we're going to review and add to what you already know about this part. Okay. When I see everybody's finger or pencil on example 1, we will begin. Sit up, heads should not be down. Scoot your chair in so that you can't put your head down. And read in your head while I read out loud. The largest extreme sports competition, called X Games, is so popular that one year, 268,390 people attended. What is 268,390 rounded to the nearest 10,000? Well, let's go back to this problem and read it again for a second time, but this time we're going to put a box around important information. We're going to underline the question, and we're going to circle any really important words that we need to in order to find the answer. So let's read it again. The largest extreme sports competition, called X Games, is so popular that one year, 268,390 people attended. Notice that I not only put a box around my number, but I also put a box around the number of what? What is the thing that that number represents? Well, in this case, it's people. It's very important to know exactly what your number represents because you have to put a unit in your answers. When you don't put a unit, you have not fully answered the question. So in the end, you should have a number and then whatever that number represents. In this problem, it's going to represent people. What is 268,390 rounded to the nearest 10,000? Well, there's our question, so we're going to underline it. And this question has some important information that will lead us to how to solve the problem. In this case, it's the words nearest 10,000. Notice how I didn't make 2 circles. I just made 1 circle that kind of ended and began again, because that's one piece of important information. Nearest 10,000. The word nearest is not one piece, and the word 10,000 is not one piece. They make one piece together. So I'm not going to do 2 separate circles. I'm going to do a circle that kind of ends and then begins again. Because nearest 10,000 is very important because that tells me, okay, where am I looking? What am I looking for? What place am I going to be focusing on? So if it says nearest 10,000, what place am I probably really going to be focusing on today? Or in this problem? Aaron?
10,000.
The 10,000th place. That's why I circled nearest 10,000. First of all, nearest tells me, am I finding an exact answer? Victoria? Nearest. If I'm finding the nearest answer, am I finding the exact answer? Does near mean exact? If you are near the park, are you in the park? No, you're not. If you're near the park, it means you're close, but you're not in it. So if it says nearest, am I finding an exact answer, class?
No.
No. So, step 1, we have a number line here. So that makes it a little easier. Look at the number line. I wish they would let us plot it. Sometimes this book really does too much for you. We know our number is 268,390. Our number line starts at 260,000, ends at 270,000, and then goes up by 2,000 each time. So we need to figure out, okay, on this number line, where is 268,390 going to be? Well, I see that the last digit before the zeros in all of these is in what place? What place are those underlined digits in? The digits before the zeros. Michaela? The thousands place. So I also need to look at the digit in the thousands place here, which is an 8. So, am I going to put 268,390 after 262,000, but before 264,000, class?
No.
No, because 8 does not come between 2 and 4. Does 8 come between 4 and 6, class?
No.
Does 8 come between 6 and 8? Does it come between 6 and 8?
No.
No. But would it go between 8 and then 0 for 10?
Yes.
Yes. 268,390 would come right after 268,000 because that 3 in the hundredths is greater than 0. But not before, but then the 8 comes before the 0, which stands for 10. So now we're looking. Is 268,000 closer to 260,000 or 270,000? Zadie?
270,000.
Okay, so help me fill this out. Since 268,390 is closer to, louder.
270,000.
Nope. Have confidence.
270,000.
So since 268,390 is closer to 270,000, then what? What's the other one we were looking at that it's not closer to?
260,000.
260,000. 268,390 rounds to
270,000.
270,000. So does everybody understand how to find it on a number line? Well, cool, because now we're not using number lines anymore. Okay, helper number 1, sanitize, erase, sanitize. Everybody else, go ahead and turn the page and put your finger or pencil on example 2. Okay, so your finger or pencil should be on example 2. When I see everybody's finger or pencil on example 2, I will continue. Okay, read in your head while I read out loud. We're going to read it once just to read the problem, and then we're going to read it a second time to find the important information. A record was set when 569,069 people jumped up and down for 1 minute. About how many people set this record? Round 569,069 to the nearest 100,000. Okay, so we read it. We pretty much know what we're looking for, but now let's read it again in order to find the important information so that we know exactly what we have and what we're being asked for. Aaron, pay attention. A record was set when 569,069 people jumped up and down for 1 minute. Well, we know the number of people is important, so I'm going to put a box around the number and the unit. The unit, remember, tells me what that number represents. In this case, it's people. Bless you. Is 1 minute, bless you, is 1 minute an important piece of information in this problem, class? Are we going to need 1 minute?
No.
No. That's just telling us, hey, this is what it was. But we don't really need to know 1 minute in order to solve the problem. It's a number, but sometimes there are numbers or pieces of information in problems that really have nothing to do with what we're trying to find. About how many people set this record? Well, there's our question. I'm going to circle the word about. Because about is a word that tells us we are not finding an exact answer. About tells us that we are estimating. So anytime you see the word about in a question, about how many, that means you are not finding an exact answer. So make sure you pay attention, because on your test, if it says about how many, and you tell me an exact answer, did you answer the correct question? Colin?
No.
No. About means you are estimating. In this case, rounding, because our question continues to tell us exactly what to do. Round 569,069 to the nearest 100,000. 100,000 tells us what are we going to focus on. What is one place that we are probably going to focus on, class? Class?
100,000.
100,000's place. So, step 1. Now we need to follow the steps. This is where you need to pay close attention. This is where you are probably going to turn back and forth to make sure that you are following the directions, because you must do this every time. Put that mask on. Do not take it off. That is dangerous. Step 1. Circle the digit in the place to be rounded. You must do this every single problem. I must see that circle around the digit in the place to be rounded. Well, we know our question is telling us round to the nearest 100,000. So we're going to find the digit in the 100,000's place, and then we're going to circle it. So if we're struggling finding the 100,000's place, we can just start on the right and start naming places. Ones, tens, hundreds. I've got a comma, so I'm in a new period. Thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. So that means I'm going to circle the digit in the 100,000s, which in this case is a 5. So I'm circling the digit in the 100,000s place, which in this case is a 5. Now I'm ready to move on to step 2. Underline the digit to the right of the place being rounded. Is the right this way, or is it this way? Point to the right. This way or this way? Point to the right. This way or this way? Good. The right is this way. I'm going to underline the digit that is right next to our circle digit to the right. So in this case, it's a 6. I circled the digit in the place to be rounded. There was a 5 in the 100,000s place, so that's what I circled. Step 2 tells me to underline the digit to the right. Not way over here, just the one right next to it to the right, which in this case is a 6. Draw a line from step 2 to your underlined digit, and draw an arrow from step 2 to your underlined digit, and then draw an arrow from step 1 to your circle digit. Because there's step 1, circle the digit in the place to be rounded. It was a 5 in the 100,000s place. Step 2 was underline the digit to the right. Well, the digit right next to it to the right is a 6, so I underlined it. Now, step 3. If the underlined digit is 4 or less, do not change the circle digit. If the underlined digit is 5 or greater, add 1 to the circle digit. This is that 4 or less, let it rest. That means do nothing. We're not going to say round down because that makes us think we have to take something away. Are we taking anything away? No. So we're not going to say round down because that's confusing. We're going to say do nothing. If the underlined digit is 4 or less, do nothing. Let it rest. If you're sleeping and I let you rest, am I doing anything to you, class?
No.
No. I'm leaving you alone. That's what we do if the underlined digit is 4 or less. So are we worried about the circle digit right now, class?
No.
In step 3, are we worried about the circle digit?
Yes.
Are we?
No.
Are we looking at the circle digit? Guys, listen. In step 3, are we looking at the circle digit at all?
No.
Which digit are we looking at? Aaron? Which digit? What did we do to the digit that we're looking at? Are we looking at the underlined or the circle digit? Michaela? The underlined digit. It says right here, it's the underlined digit. circle the word underlined in step 3 because we're not really worried about the circle digit right now. So if that underlined digit is 4 or less, let it rest. Don't do anything to it. Class, is this underlined digit 4 or less? Class,
No.
no. Well, do we know what to do yet?
No.
No, let's keep reading. If the underlined digit is 5 or greater, add 1 to the circled digit. So that's that other anchor chart. 5 or more, let it soar. If you soar, are you going up or are you going down? Class?
Up.
Up. So if if the underlined digit is 5 or more, 5 or greater, we add 1 to the circle digit. Well, is this underlined digit 5 or more? That includes 5. Is this underlined digit 5 or more, class?
5 or more.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So that means we do what to the to the circle digit? Our underlined digit is 5 or more. So what do we do to the circle digit? Focus. Zari?
We
Look at step 3. Our underlined digit is 5 or greater. So what do we do to the circle digit, Zari?
would take away from it.
Do we ever take away when we're rounding? Think about what I said earlier. Zari, look at the second sentence in step 3. Is there anything in step 3 that says take away? Zari?
No.
No. So would we ever take away from the circle digit?
No.
No. Look at what number 3 says, Zari. The underlined digit is 5 or more because it's 6. So what do we do to the circle digit?
We would add to it.
What do we add? Be specific. Do we add 6?
No, we add 1.
We only add 1. So that means our circle digit is a 5. What does it need to become?
A 6.
A 6. So now we're going to come down to our answer and we're going to put a 6 in the hundredths, thousandths place. If this digit was 4 or less, our digit would stay a 5. But it's not, it's 5 or more. So that means we add 1, so now it's a 6. Now look at step 4. Replace all digits after the circle digit with zeros. How many digits come after the circle digit in our number 569,069? Victoria? How many digits come after the circle digit? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means our answer, our estimated rounded answer, is going to have 5 zeros at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because all digits after the circle digit, once we've rounded, become zeros. Now we're going to add a step 5. Because you will see this step 5. I wish that they had given it you here. Step 5. I'm going to use a different marker just so that at home you can see clearly. Step 5. Everybody needs to write this because it is very important. Step 5. Any digits before the circled digit stay the same. That means if we were rounding to the 100,000s place, but we had digits that came before, like say we had a number that was in the 10 millions, those digits that come before the circle digit don't change. They stay the same. Okay. So now, does everybody understand what I mean by step 5? We're going to see because I'm going to add 2 problems to our guided practice. That kind of one will show this, one will show something different that you may come across. Okay? Okay. So that means about how many people set this record? About how many people set this record? Are we looking, when we see the word about, are we looking for an exact answer? Michaela? No. So about how many people answered this question? I'm sorry, set this record, Michaela?
6,000.
Remember, read the number before the comma. What do we have?
600,000.
Say the name of the period. And then do we have anything in the ones plate in the ones period to say? No. So what is this number? 6,000 looks like this. 600,000. Maybe there's an IXL that helps with how to say numbers. I'll look, and then I might assign it as extra because I think you guys need some help with that. So Michaela, about how many people set this record? 600,000 people set this record. Now they had us check. They had us use a number line. If we used a number line that started at 500,000 and ended at 600,000, 569,069 would come after 550,000. So that means 569,069. Is it closer to 500,000 or 600,000 on our number line? Colin?
600,000.
600,000. Okay, so does everybody think that they're with me? Because now we're going to move on to the guided practice, which means you're going to do it. I'm going to prompt you, but you're going to do it. I'm going to pick a stick. I'm going to pick 4 or 5 sticks because I'm adding 2 extra problems. Is everybody ready to move on to the guided practice? Carla, what's your question? So you can look back. When you're doing your homework or your independent practice, you can look back at page 38. Or you can look at this anchor chart right here, because this anchor chart also has the steps. Okay, so let's look at the guided practice. The guided practice says round to the given place value position. So we are given a number, and then we are told which place to round to. Knowing which place will help us to do step 1. So number 1, help me out. Colin. We have 2,221, and we're rounding it to the nearest 1,000. So what is step 1?
Step 1.
Loud.
Circle the digit in the place to be rounded.
So we're rounding this number, 2,221, to the nearest 1,000. So which number are we circling? Which digit are we circling?
The 2
In the,
thousands.
so the first one, the second one, or the third one?
First one.
The first 2 is being circled. Every single problem, you must follow the steps. That means when I check your independent practice and your homework, I am looking. Did you do step 1? Did you circle the digit in the place to be rounded? And did you do step 2? Did you underline the digit to the right? If I don't see that, then I'll know that you just rushed through and did not focus or pay attention or follow directions, and you're going to have to redo it. So, Colin, correct. We circle that first 2, because step 1 tells us to circle the digit in the place to be rounded. That first 2 is in the thousands place. Now, step 2, Cullen.
Underline the digit to right of the place.
Good. So are we underlining way over here?
No.
No, just the one right next to it in the right, which is also a
2.
2. Now, Cullen, step 3. Read step 3 and then tell me what to do.
If the underlined digit is 4 or less, do not change the circled digit. If the underlined digit is 5 or greater, add 1 to the circled digit.
So basically, step 3 is this underlined digit 4 or less? We let it.
Rest.
If this underlined digit is 5 or more, we let it
Soar.
soar. So, let it rest means add how many?
0.
Class?
0.
0.
0.
Let it soar means add how many? Class?
1.
1. So, Cullen, this underlined digit is a 2. Is that 4 or less or 5 or more?
4 and less.
So what are we going to do to the circle digit?
Let it rest.
Which means we add
0.
0. So that means our digit in the thousands place will be what?
2.
2, because we're not doing anything to it. Okay, step 4.
Replace all digits after the circled digit with zeros.
So how many digits come after this circle digit, Cullen?
3.
So how many zeros are we going to have at the end?
3.
3. 1, 2, 3. Don't forget to add your comma every 3 numbers. 1, 2, 3. We have a comma. Now, do we have to, what is step 5, Cullen?
Step 5. Any digit before the circled digit stay the same.
Do we need to do step 5?
No.
No, we have no digits before the circle digit, so we don't have to do step 5 in this problem. We always, always, always have to do steps 1 through 4. We don't always need to do step 5, and I'll show you that. I'm going to add 2 problems to our guided practice. Okay, Cullen. I'm sorry, wait, not Cullen, because you just did number 1. So correct. 2,221 rounds to what, Cullen?
2,000.
2,000. Okay, number 2, 78,214. We're rounding to the nearest 10,000. Aaron, what's step 1?
Circle a digit in the place to be rounded.
So we're rounding to the 10,000s. What digit is in the 10,000s place in this number 78,214?
7.
7. So we're going to circle that 7 in the 10,000s place. Make sure you're doing that, because if you do not, you'll have to redo it. Step 2, Aaron.
Underline the digit to the right of the place being rounded.
So are we going way over here to the right? No, we're just looking at the one right next to it to the right, which in this case is what digit?
8.
8. So we're going to underline that digit to the right, which is 8. Carla, please keep your camera on. Step 3, Aaron. Read all of step 3.
If the underlined digit is 4 or less, do not change the circle digit. If the underlined digit is 5 or greater, add 1 to the circle digit.
So let's look at our underlined digit. What do we have?
8.
So is that 4 or less or 5 or more?
5 or more.
So what do we do to the circle digit? Do we let it rest, or do we let it soar?
We let it soar.
Which means we do what?
We add 1.
We add 1 to which digit?
The underline.
The underlined
The
digit?
circle.
The circle. Once you will only ever add 1 or add 0 to the circled digit. You will never add 1 or add 0 to any other digit, only the circled digit. So our underlined digit is an 8, which means it's 5 or more, so we let it soar. So what do we do to this 7?
We add 1.
So now that circled digit becomes an
8.
8. What's step 4, Aaron?
Replace all the digit after the circle digit with zeros.
How many digits do we have after the circle digit, Aaron? Sorry, head up, please.
5.
5. So how many zeros are we going to have at the end of our number?
5.
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Before we move on, we need to make sure we have our commas every 3 digits. 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3. Well, we don't have to put a comma at the beginning if there's no number before it. What's step 5, Aaron?
Step 5. Adding any digits before the circle digits stay the same.
Do we have any digits before the circle digit?
No.
So do we need to do step 5?
No.
No. Okay, so that means 78,214 rounded to the nearest 10,000 is what, Aaron?
800,000.
Oh, I'm sorry. Aaron, you told me, I'm sorry. Okay. Aaron, you made a little mistake. That's okay, we all make mistakes. How many digits are after the circle digit? So we're not including the circle digit. So everybody, it's not 800,000. I did see some confused looks, but I didn't know why. So that means if you need to, let me know. Hey, it's not that. So Aaron, how many digits come after the circle digit? That does not include the circle digit.
4.
So how many zeros are at the end of our number?
4.
4.
I got confused. I didn't add the.
Remember, the circle digit is not included in step 4. Only the digits that come after. Now we need to go 1, 2, 3. There's our comma, 1, 2. Well, we have nothing else in front of it. So, Aaron, 78,214 rounded to the nearest 10,000 is what?
80,000.
80,000. It was when you said 800,000 that I caught that. Good. So does everybody understand? So sometimes we make mistakes. That's why we always, when we're finished, what do? When we finish something, what do we always do? Michaela? Go back and check. Because those silly mistakes, even though you know how to do it, those silly mistakes can be the difference between an A and an F. So watch for silly mistakes. Okay, thank you, Aaron. Number 3. Zari. We have 581,203. We're rounding to the nearest 100,000. So, Zari, what is step 1? Read step 1.
Circle a digit in the place to be rounded.
So we're rounding this number to the nearest 100,000. So what digit do we need to circle?
5.
5. Remember, if you can't figure out which one is the 100,000, just start on the right and start naming places. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000. Okay, Zari, read step 2.
Underline the digit to the right of the place being rounded.
So we're just going 1 digit to the right, and we are underlining what digit, Zari?
8.
8. Now read all of step 3, Zari.
If the underlined digit is 4 or less, do not change the circle digit. If the underlined digit is 5 or greater, add 1 to the circle digit.
So we have an 8. Is that 4 or less or 5 or more? Zari.
5 or more.
So that means, what do we do to the circle digit?
We add 1 to it.
We add 1. So this circled 5 becomes a
6.
6. Now, Zari, read step 4.
We place all the digits after the circle digit with 0.
How many zeros come after the circle digit? So do not include the circle digit when you're counting.
5.
5. So how many zeros will come at the end of our number?
5.
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to put a comma every 3 digits. 1, 2, 3, comma. We have 3 digits, but we don't need to put a comma because there's nothing before that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Now, Zari, step 5. Read step 5.
Will do. Take care.
any digit before the underlying number.
Not before the underlined number. And read step 5 again.
In any digits before the underline.
Okay, sorry, you did not follow directions. You did not write exactly what I had on the board. So you did not check yourself. You just listened and then wrote what you thought you heard, but you did not look at the board. Can somebody tell Zari what step 5 is? What is step 5? What is step 5? I'm going to let Cullen do it because she's right next to the computer, so they should be able to hear. Loud.
Any digit before the circled digits stay the same.
So Zari, step 5 has nothing to do with the underlined digit. It says any digit before the circled digit stay the same. So Zari, fix that because it doesn't have to do with the underlined digit, it has to do with the circled digit. So Zari, read step 5 again. Read step 5 again.
Any digit before the circle digit stays the same.
So Zari, do we have any digits before the circle digit here?
No.
So do we have to worry about step 5 here?
No.
No. So 531,203 rounded to the nearest 100,000 is what? Sorry.
$600,000.
So 600,000. Okay, very good. Let's see. I'm going to add 2 more problems because I want to show you 2 such situations. So you guys have lots of space up here. So go ahead. We're going to do number 4, and it's going to be, we'll do 532,489, and we're going to round it to the nearest 1,000. Michaela, you're going to help me with this one. So go ahead, write number 4, 532,000. Can you see it at home? Number 4 is 532,489. We're rounding it to the nearest 1,000. So, Michaela, you're going to help me. Step 1. Read step 1.
Circle the digit in the place to be rounded.
So, which digit do we need to circle? We need to find the digit in the thousands place and circle it.
The 500,000.
Is there a 5 in the thousands place here? Remember, if you can't remember where the place is, start on the right and start naming places. So we start with what place?
100,000.
We're rounding to the nearest 1,000. So what digit is in the thousands place? 2. So we're going to circle the 2. Make sure you're doing this. Please do not work ahead because then you'll miss any tips or tricks that I give you. Step 2, Michaela.
Underline the digit in the right of the place being rounded.
So which digit are we going to underline? 4. Read all of step 3.
If the underlying digit is 4 or less, do not change the circle digit. If underlying digit is 5 or greater, add 1 more to the circle digit.
So we have a 4. Is that 4 or less or 5 or more?
4 or less.
So that means, what do we do to the circle digit? Do we let it rest or do we let it soar? Let it rest, which means we add how much to the circle digit? 0. So what do we do to the circle digit when we get to our number? Do we keep it the same or do we change it? We keep it the same. Now, Michaela, read step 4.
Replace all digits after the circle digit with 0.
How many digits do we have after the circle digit? So we're not including anything before and we're not including the circle digit. 3. 1, 2, 3. So that means the end of our number has how many digits? 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and place our comma. Now, Michaela, are we done? Is that it?
Yes.
Is it? Do we go through all the steps?
No.
So what do we do now?
Step 5.
What is step 5? Just because we got here doesn't mean we're done. Because if we had a number line, would 2,000 be anywhere near 532,489 class?
No.
No. So we're not done because what does step 5 tell us to do?
Any digit before the circle digit stay the same.
Do we have digits before the circle digit?
Yes.
Yes. What do we have? What digits do we have?
5, 3.
Do we just leave those off? Do we forget about them and say, well, we finished step 4, so we're done? No. We bring them down and we keep them the same. So, Michaela, that means 532,489 rounded to the nearest thousand is not 2,000, it's what?
5,003.
Nope. We don't say thousand until we get to the comma.
500.
Michaela, what is this number?
532,000.
Do we say anything?
No.
No. So 532,489 rounded to the nearest thousand is
532,000.
532,000. So does everybody understand why you can't just forget about digits before the circle digit? Because 532,489 would be nowhere near 2,000. That's like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of places away from 2,000. Okay, number 5. One more. We have the number. 69,421, and we are rounding to the nearest 10,000. Smith, help me out. What's step 1? We're rounding 69,421 to the nearest 10,000. What's step 1, Smith? Read it.
Circle the digit in the place to be rounded.
So we're rounding to the nearest 10,000, which means what digit do we circle?
6.
6. Okay? Step, oh wait, hold on, I'm changing that. Oh, I did the wrong thing. Sorry. So try again. It's 96,421. I messed up. I switched them. So now, Smith, step 1 again. Read it again.
Circle the digit in the place to be rounded.
So which digit is in the 10,000s place?
The 9.
9. Good. Okay, Smith, read step 2.
Underline the digit to the right of the place being rounded.
So which digit are we underlining?
The 6.
The 6. Okay, read all of step 3.
If the underlined digit is 4 or less, do not change the circled digit. If the underlined digit is 5 or greater, add 1 to the circled digit.
So we have a 6. Is that 4 or less or 5 or more?
5 or more.
So that means what do we have to do to the circle digit?
Raise it by 1.
Add 1. 9, well, wait. But if I add 1 to 9, what do I get, Smith?
100,000.
Well, wait, but I'm just adding 1 to 9. 9 plus 1 isn't 100,000. What is 9 plus 1?
10.
Okay. But that means I won't have anything in the 10,000s place because what's step 4?
Replace all digits after the circle digit with zeros.
How many zeros do I have after the circle digit? So that does not include the circle digit or anything that comes before.
4.
4. So how many zeros are going to come at the end of my number?
4.
Smith, can I include this 0 as one of the ones at the end?
Yes.
Can't think about it. If I only added 3 zeros because I already had a 4, I'd have 10,000. Would 10,000 be anywhere near 96,421 on a number line?
Yes.
Would it? If I had a number line that went from, we'll say 10,000 to 90,000. Well, no. 100,000. And then here's 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, and so on. 96,421 would be about here. Here's 10,000. Are those anywhere near each other?
No.
No. So I cannot include that 0 from 9 plus 1 in my zeros. So I still have to add 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I put my comma every third digit. So that means 96,421 rounded to the nearest 10,000. Well, there isn't anything in the 10,000s place. 96,421 rounded to the nearest 10,000 is actually 100,000. Because if I had 90,000, 95,000, and 100,000. 96,421 would come between 95,000 and 100,000. So is that close to 90,000? Not really. It's closer to 100,000. So if you have to add 1 to a 9 to make it 10, do not include that 0 in step 4. You're pretending like that is a whole nother number. So that means step 4, always add that many zeros, even if you have a 0 from step 3. You will see that at least once in your independent practice or your homework. Okay.